Hey guys, let's talk discipleship. What does it mean to disciple someone at a summit house? What does that look like? What does that entail? Real quick introduction. First, we're asking you to spend about one day a week, for about an hour with a guy or a gal in a summit house. At least every other week. And what does that look like? What kind of stuff do you talk about? I think the first thing obviously is how you doing and checking in with each other. I think after that you got to look at what does discipleship entails. Jesus did it. He came to disciples while they were fishing and he said, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." Now that word applies to us who are making disciples and to those we're discipling, because we are being taught by Jesus how to make fishers of men. That's kind of what we're doing right now. We're learning how to make fishers of men, and then we're teaching them how to make fishers of men. So discipleship is always multiplying. What we're doing in that case is we're saying, "How you doing?" But you might ask something like, "What are you learning today?" This is something I'm learning. And I would always go, my front foot forward would be, "This is what I'm learning from my devotions this morning." Assuming you're doing your devotions, it kind of helps you remember to do them too. And then you say, "Hey, I'm learning about controlling my anger." And that gets into another thing. As you're sharing that, one of the most important things you can do, and probably the most important, is to share your struggles, to be vulnerable yourself. And you see Matthew and Jesus says, if you're angry with your brother without reason, go to him and settle the matter quickly. And maybe that day that's what you're learning, and you say, I'm struggling with anger, and this is why. And I wasn't even realizing I was doing it, but now I am. And then as you share that, it opens up your friend to say, I struggle with that, or I struggle with something else. It's good to know you struggle because I have struggles too. And then they open up. So this is sort of a goal that we get to. First, your first times meeting, you might just, this is your name, this is your background, this is your story, this is my story. And then as you get to know each other, you'll start to share struggles and joys that you have with each other. It's always good to end the time with prayer, or at least begin the time with prayer. Because you're pointing people to Jesus, not to yourself. You're not just their coach saying, I know how to do life and you need to do it like me. In fact, if you come with that attitude, that can really get in the way. But if you understand yourself as a fellow disciple, Jesus is the teacher, and we are brothers, or brother and sister, or sisters in Christ, then we can pass this on appropriately. So with that, those are some of your pointers. You want to look at once a week, maybe once every couple weeks. Now another thing that Jesus did is when he said, "Come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men," he didn't just sit with them at synagogue. He did life with them. He went fishing with them. So think about this. It isn't just that you're taking extra time out of your schedule to meet with this person. It's that you're learning to do life with them. So don't just think in terms of, I got to go to the summit house and I got to have coffee with this guy for an hour, or this gal for an hour. Think beyond that, okay? Think in terms of what Jesus did. Think about, I'm going to Lowe's. This time when we go out, I'm going to ask him, "Hey, is there a good time for you to go to Lowe's with me? Because I need to pick up some lumber. Or I need to do an errand. Would you come with me?" Don't just think I've got to do extra stuff, but think about what you're already doing and bring the person into what you're already doing. Or find out what they're doing and join them. Maybe they need to clean the kitchen. Maybe you could say, "Hey, I noticed you said you haven't been able to do your chores. Why don't we just spend our time doing the chores together, and as we're doing the chores, as we're cleaning the kitchen, we'll talk." Great way to do it. Or if you're doing a project and you know this person has an ability to do the project with you, bring them along with you in the project. Yeah, bring them to Bible study with you at your church. Do things outside the summit house, because the whole idea is that the person is building a life in Christ outside of a bubble of a program. They're actually learning to have a support system, people they can go to maybe if they're going through something and call and say, "Hey, I'm struggling right now." And with some boundaries, say, "Hey, call me between these times and these times. These are the best times. Don't call me in the middle of the night," or whatever. However those boundaries need to be for you. But be a person that they can go to when they're struggling, so that when they graduate from the house, they can still go to you when they're struggling. The commitment is about a year. We'd love it if it could be 3 years. Note that Jesus spent 3 years with his disciples. But if you can only give a year, give at least that year. And the hope, of course, is that either you are going to be their support system as they graduate, or you'll help them find someone who will also be their support system when they graduate. So those are some of those ideas, and that's a quick introduction, some of our expectations, and some things you can write down. One last point. If they don't pursue you, if you say, well, call me and we'll get together, and then you get frustrated because they don't call you, remember that they have some relational struggles. They've often been rejected or abandoned by people. So it's important if they don't pursue, that you pursue them. Come after them and say, hey, we need to have coffee, or hey, I am doing this. Don't give up if they don't show up the first time or the second time, or if you come to the house and you have a project and they're not ready to go. Don't get frustrated. Just be patient and keep trying, because it's a building process for them to rebuild relational community with other people, and that's going to be the key to them succeeding. 80% of people that succeed have a support system when they graduate from programs like the Lighthouse Mission or these discipleship kind of houses. The whole point of them is that they have community beyond the house. So thanks for being a part of this. The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Shalom.